Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. All of you are welcome in English class conducted by Teaching Point. I hope you are all fine and safe due to coronavirus. Online classes are started in order to keep you, facilitate and to help you to keep in touch while staying at your homes. Before starting, let's have 2 minutes talk. As you know, world is in danger of coronavirus. What can we do to protect ourselves and our near ones by staying at home and avoid social gatherings? It will curtail the risk of having corona. My message for all of you is stay home, stay safe. So let's start today's topic. That is the first lesson in your English book, When I Heard the Learned Astronomer. All of you have to open your books on page number 2 and please hold your pencils and notebooks and all the necessary material along with you so that there should not be any hurdle. So first of all, I'm giving you 5 minutes to read it yourself, and I'm also starting reading, so please listen it carefully, or either you have to read your text yourself. I am starting the reading. When I heard the learned astronomer, when the proofs, the figure, were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, when I sitting heard the astronomer where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room, how soon unaccountable I became tired and sick, till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical moist night air, and from time to time looked up in perfect silence at the stars. In this poem, there is the word I. I is used for the poet himself. And then there are the first 4 lines where the term when is repeated in the successive first 4 lines. So please underline these terms when in 4 times, and I is used for the poet himself. So here is another word, ranged, that means arranged in a proper way. Remaining words and meanings are discussed now. Astronomer means a person, a scientist who studies stars, moons, planets and other space objects. Learned, it means well-educated, a scholar, well-educated person and a scholar. Learned is written with apostrophe, that is the short form or contracted form that will be discussed later in this lesson or in another video. Columns, a vertical arrangement of items on a page. Applause means approval and appreciation by the audience, by other people. And gliding means to move aimlessly, to move smoothly and continuously towards any target, to any for any purpose. And wander means to move aimlessly without any goal and without any effort, to walk here and there. Mystical means spiritual, something that is not obvious to your senses or intelligence, that is above your senses and above your intelligence. Moist means slightly wet, not fully dry, not fully wet, but slightly wet. And proofs mean a test which shows calculation is correct. So all the words are discussed in the poem. Now come to the point. There are 2 halves of the poem. The first 4 lines are creating the first half of the line, while the second 4 lines are creating the second half of the line. This poem is basically written by Walt Whitman. He's an American poet and a journalist, a teacher and a government clerk. Mostly he wrote in free verse, and he is known as the father of free verse. Free verse will also be discussed later, but first of all we have to go towards the explanation. In the first 4 lines, the poet is in the lecture room. There is an astronomer who is delivering the lecture. The poet is describing an astronomer who is explaining with the help of proofs, figures and charts. It means that he is fully prepared, his lesson is fully prepared, and he is demonstrating with the help of different charts, figures and diagrams, so that his lesson will be more effective and easily to understand. The audience is appreciating his way of explaining. However, the poet becomes tired and bored because he finds his lecture uninteresting and boring. However, other people are taking interest, and they are feeling that the lecture is too much interesting. But this is not the mindset of the poet himself. So what he decided in the second half of the poem, in the last 4 lines, he decides to leave the lecture room and to go out of the room and to have an experience of the space, the planet, the stars and the sky by himself. When he comes out of the lecture room, he looks up at the stars in perfect silence. He is attracted and fascinated by the beauty and calmness of the outer world. He is fully attracted. The outer world is more beautiful as compared to the inner world of the lecture room. So from this conversation, from this explanation, we come to know that in the first half of the poem, the poet was in the lecture room where an astronomer was explaining in a very appropriate way with the help of different figures, charts and diagrams. But in the second half of the poem, the poet finds himself boring, and he in the lecture room, and he decides to leave the lecture room. When he comes outside, the outside world was in complete silence, in perfect attraction and fascination. So in this environment, he get solace, he get complete peace and peaceful environment, and he decides to have an experience by himself. So his experience is very good as compared to the experience that he is still in the lecture room and just listening the astronomer. It means that experience counts much. Whenever we experience something, it is more effective as compared to the silent character within the lecture room or in the classroom. We have to experience the nature by ourselves. So there are some consolidation questions that you have to know about. How many stanzas are in this poem? So in this stanzas in this poem there are no stanzas because there are unequal lines pattern, so there are no stanzas in this poem. It only consists of 8 lines with unequal line length. So question number 2, what is free verse? A free verse is a type of poetry that does not contain any rhyming pattern. It does not have any rhyming pattern, rhyming scheme. So we can say that this is a free verse, written in free verse. And what is the message of the poem? The message of the poem is that science cannot show the mystical wonder of nature. We must experience it for ourselves. The astronomer explained well with all tools and proofs, but that was boring. When the poet himself observes the sky, he enjoys it a lot. So this is the message, that we should experience beauty around us by ourselves. Next come to the question, that is, what is a meter in poetry? A meter is the arrangement of stressed and unstressed syllables. These are rhythms within a poem. I will have to explain it thoroughly with the help of another class or video. Next question is, how many syllables are in each line? What do you think about the pattern? If I'm counting all the syllables, then in the first line there are 10, then 14, then 18, then 23, then 14, then 14, 13 and 10. These are all the syllables. The lines are changed in length, suggesting the line pattern that the lecture is going on for some time, that it is not completed, it is going on for some time. And there is also a question about What is a length of the what is iambic pentameter? Iambic pentameter, a line of words with 5 metrical feet. Each consists of one short and unstressed syllable followed by one long or stressed syllable. So this is the answer of iambic pentameter. What does the length of last 4 lines suggest? The lines are of a similar length. The final line is iambic pentameter. This suggests that he is now in perfect calmness and feel fascinating and peaceful in outer world. The last question is what are different thoughts in 2 halves of the poem? The first half includes a lot of repetition and convey the sense that the lecture room is full of factual information. He seems to be bored in first half. In second half, he moves out in the open sky where he finds himself in peace and relaxation. So you can describe it according to the pattern of first half and second half. First half is in lecture room, second half is in outer world. So question and answer relating to your exercise A. So the question number 1 is, in the first half of the poem where the poet is. So you can answer it in the first half of the poem. The poet is in the lecture room. Question number 2, who is he with and what is he doing? He is with an audience, listening to a learned astronomer talk or lecture. Question number 3, which words or phrases show that the astronomer is respected by the poet and the audience? Learned and with much applause. Both of these words, learned and with much applause, will be written in apostrophe, both sides. Question number 4, what scientific tools and methods does the astronomer use? The scientific tools and methods that the astronomer uses are proofs and figures arranged in charts and diagrams used to add, divide and measure. Question number 5, in the second half of the poem, where is the poet? In the second half of the poem, the poet is outside of the lecture room. Number 6, who is he with and what is he doing? He is on his own. He is on his own, O-W-N, own, and he is looking at the night sky. Last question from exercise A, what words and images in the first half of the poem are a contrast to the perfect silence in the final line? The words and images in the first half of the poem that contrast to the perfect silence in the final lines are heard the learned astronomer and lectured with much applause. Both describe the sound of the lecture, and the word heard is repeated, suggesting noise. The second phrase brings in the noise of the audience. The list of proofs, figures, columns, charts, diagrams implies I-M-P-R-L-I-E-S, implies that the lecture is a continuous noise. So thank you so much for attending this lesson. This is enough for today's time. Remaining portion, that is anaphora and contracted form, and your adjectival phrases will be discussed in the next lesson. Thank you.